take in, I give out, I let love, I let go, I release, I know, I forgive, I receive, I can feel, I believe, I am healed, I am whole, I release, I know. Push, no need to try, no need to worry or question why. Surrender, let go, release, and grow. As the song has invited us to do, let us breathe. The deep, conscious, healing breath. The healing breath that takes us to the core, the center of our being. And in the core of our being, we access the peace that passes all human understanding. We access the great reservoir of love spoken about in every great spiritual path. We access wisdom of the ages. The core of our being, we access oneness, understanding, love. to the awareness that we are the ones who chose to be here and to be awake at such a time as this. We have not been forced or punished by being here. We are here because our own souls delighted in the idea to bring heaven to earth. And so this consciousness of heaven, this consciousness of peace and transformation is what we are. And we bring this consciousness of heaven to earth through our perceptions, our thoughts, our words, our presence. In this moment, we let our consciousness join with the consciousness of those who have prayed for peace throughout the ages. From Buddhism, may those frightened cease to be afraid, and may those bound be free, and may people think of befriending one another. From Taoism, may there be peace in the heart and peace between neighbors, peace in the cities, and peace in the nations, and peace in the world. From the Baha'i, be a lamp unto those who walk in darkness, a breath of life to the body of humankind, a dew upon the soil of the human heart, and fruit upon the tree of humanity. From Islam, O God, you are peace. From you comes peace. To you returns peace. Revive us with a salutation of peace, and lead us to your abode of peace. From Judaism, may we see the day when a great peace embraces the whole world. O God, bless the leaders of all nations with a heart of compassion. From Christianity, Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. And where there is darkness, light. From Hinduism, let us follow the path of goodness at all times. Let the sun and the moon, moving eternally through the sky, be our reminder that we too are eternal. Let us be charitable to one another. And lastly, for today, from the Native American, the First Peoples, O Great Spirit, let me walk in beauty. Make my hands respect all things you have made. Let us be filled with wisdom and strength and light. As we take these few moments of silence, we allow our hearts to hold our world, our human family, our family of life all over the planet. Our hearts hold the waters, the oceans and and rivers, the mountains, the minerals, the four-leggeds, the two-leggeds, the winged ones. Our hearts hold it all. We hold in our hearts this morning all world leaders, that they have as their highest priority the well-being of all life. We put into this heart of prayer all that we are holding this morning. For all that we are holding in our hearts, of people, places, communities, nations, circumstances, and events. From our place of wholeness and peace, we hold our world in a consciousness of wholeness and peace. Peace, peace, peace. And so it is. Namaste. Thank you, Unity Band, for that song. Do we have all the lights on? It feels. There. There you are. You feel peace?
Yes.
This is the core of our being. This is a part of our cosmic identity. We, you and I, know how to access peace. No matter what's happening in our homes, in our community, in our jobs, in our relationships, in our families, and in the world. This is the core teaching. We just saw Harriet back here. No matter what's going on in our lives, so many changes, right? So many changes. People come into our lives. People leave our lives. Bodies get sick, bodies get well. The physical disappears and then the physical comes again. All the while, we have the capacity to access peace no matter what's happening.
Amen.
When we want to be here, shining brightly, even when there may be shadows around us, even when, like, I had lunch with someone a few days ago, and this is one of the people I consider to be a spiritual giant, and he said, it's the darndest thing. Oh, he didn't say darn. Here's the deal. He said, I feel like I'm in puberty again. And I thought, that's a good way to say it. David and I were talking yesterday. He's at Unity of Fairfax today, and we were talking. He said, there's like this low level of anxiety I'm feeling in people and in myself. I said, I know. And our friend a few days ago said he feels like he's in puberty again, this this underlying kind of feeling of anxiety or agitation. Do you remember what it's like to be a teenager? No. We block it out. So let's again breathe. We have the ability to do this even when we're feeling like we want to maybe stay under the covers. And all of the people I'm talking with who've been in the spiritual work for a really long time, and this room is full of you, and that is our entire lives train us to show up and be the light of the world even when it feels like things are dark. It is called mastership training. And I know dozens and dozens and dozens of teachers who for the last 40 years have been saying, there's a day coming when we're going to wake up. And it's not always going to be easy. There are days coming when things are going to happen that are going to deepen us and grow us and expand us, and it's not going to feel comfortable. And guess what? In my perspective, you may not agree, but maybe you do. We're here. These are the days.
Finally.
These are the days. And in my perspective, they started a couple of thousand years ago. The point is, we are at the graduation party. Yeah, so we're going to take a lot of deep breaths. So we start with cosmic identity. We shine our light in the world. And to really know our cosmic identity, we remember that this is where we've come from. Our address is multi-dimensional universes. And who we are multi-dimensional beings. And part of us is here today in this room. And many, many other aspects of who we are. Living at the same time that we're here. Aspects of who we are living in multi-universes. Oh my God, she's schizophrenic. I'm sure that we all have this awareness. That many of us, me included, a lot of years I was on my journey to God. Oh, just let me find God. I found Jesus. I found Buddha. I found Krishna. I found unity. I found mysticism in my journey to God. But there's another journey in this awareness. So, Anne-Marie Schnimmel. Is she Swedish, Anne-Marie? No, not Swedish. Okay. Anne-Marie Schimmel. Once the journey to God is finished, the infinite journey in God begins. One of the things that has happened for me in the last 10 years, I completed my journey to God. And now I'm in my journey in God. What does that mean? In the consciousness that Jesus talked about, I and the Father are one. I used to make me, and the consciousness of the one presence, I used to make us two different things. I used to look outside of myself to find this one presence. And then I realized I'm in the presence and the presence is in me. And there's a big difference between the journey to God and the journey in God. If we're still on a journey to find God, we're still feeling separate from this consciousness. So we know where our work is. So here's 12 symptoms of spiritual awakening. And I got this from the Church of Facebook, so it must be true. I love this list, and we can make our own list, but just for fun today, just do an assessment. It's good periodically to do an assessment of where we are. Symptoms of spiritual awakening: an increased tendency to let things happen rather than make them happen. How long did it take you to get that one? Yeah. Frequent attacks for smiling. Sometimes you don't know why. When Susan got back from India, she looked at me with this huge grin. She said, "I'm just in love. I'm in love." And there was no rest of the sentence. It's not, "I'm in love with you, I'm in love with life, I'm in love with this person." I'm in love. I am in God. I am in the consciousness. I am in love. Feelings of being connected with others and nature. Frequent, overwhelming episodes of appreciation. Do you feel that your depth of gratitude has expanded over the last few years? I'm telling you, what a great discovery when I realized that if I appreciate a flower and pause to appreciate it, the perfume expands. Have you noticed that? Oh my gosh, everywhere we go, Spirit is waiting for us. A tendency to think and act spontaneously rather than from fears based on past experience. Oh, let's just spend the day there. An unmistakable ability to enjoy each moment. A loss of ability to worry. Maybe we should stay there for a minute. A loss of interest in conflict. Have you ever known before the fight happens that you are fishing for a fight?
Never.
You know that feeling? We lose the interest in conflict. A loss of interest in interpreting the actions of others.
Oh.
A loss of interest in judging others. Well, what will we do? We'll have so much time on our hands. A loss of interest in judging self. More time we'll have. We can learn to knit. Let's to zoo. And gaining the ability to love without expecting anything. Oh. Well, we could just stop with this list, but there's more. So this is what we're all practicing right now. We could even add to this list, but this is what we're practicing. And if we're having trouble with any of these, then we know where our work is. So last week, out of this book, Living Universe, we saw this author's report as a physicist, scientist, that 96% of the known universe is invisible to the regular way of seeing. What? 96. Now, don't ask me how they measure this. But this is what the physicists are saying, that 96% of the known universe, and we have to say known universe because we now know that we're a part of millions of universes that are moving with us in our little universe. I mean, we are not alone. Evidently. We are a part of a living universe that is still expanding and moving. And so 96% of it's invisible because we know that it's there because they call it dark energy and dark matter. We know it's there because it's inferred in the way things move around the dark energy and dark matter. The only reason it's called dark is because we can't see it with the regular way of seeing. So the idea is, if 96% of the universe is undetectable in the regular way of seeing, then it may be that a whole big percentage of us is also undetectable in the regular way of seeing and sensing. In other words, there's more to you than you might think. You've got an address in other places, that you may not be aware of yet. Not detectable by material technologies, and again, in case you didn't get it the first time, we are multi-dimensional beings, and we're living in multi-dimensional universes. What does that mean? That means when we try to scare ourselves to death by telling us that we're anything less than the light of the world, we're pretending that something is true that is not true. We love a good scary story, don't we? Ooh, let's gather around the campfire and terrorize the children. What was that about? Let's go to the movies and see a really, really scary movie. My mother used to drop Pam and me off at the movie theater back when you could and pick us up 2 hours later after we had seen The House of Usher and The Invisible Man and
The Blob.
The Blob. And she'd pick us up and she wondered why we needed therapy. We scare ourselves to death.
How about Invasion of the Body Snatcher?
We love a good scary story. Well, guess what? We have really created some scary stuff in the world. You and I, humankind. And so now we're practicing releasing from our consciousness, from our subconsciousness, from our words, from our thoughts, from our actions, the stuff that scares us to death. Why not connect with ourselves as being the light of the world rather than trying to scare each other so much? Would that be a good idea?
Mm-hmm.
Because our cosmic identity understands this. Everything is an ebb and flow, everything is a cycle, everything is moving, everything is flowing, everything stays alive. We're eternally alive. Our consciousness is eternally alive. What changes and shifts is in the physical. But we scare ourselves to death, say, oh no, that person's dying. Oh no, those people over there are dying, they're being killed, they're starving. It's a sad story when we think that that's the only story.
Amen.
There are stories going on all over the planet to wake us up. Just wake us up. In the beginning, or the front of mine and David's book, somewhere in there in the beginning, I quoted a poem to keep me from going to sleep. Keep me from going to sleep. If I go to sleep, come and wake me up. Stomp on the porch floor. Knock on the door. Make sure I wake up. And that's what's happening in our world right now. We are being held by forces of light to help us wake up. And some of the waking up comes in the form of shocking experiences. But there's no confusion in spirit about waking us up. And the only way it scares us to death is if we think that we are not eternal. If we think that we have a body, one body, and the physical, once it goes, it goes. If we think that's all there is, you better bet we're going to scare ourselves to death. But in this cosmic identity, we access our core of awareness non-stop, so that when the scary stuff is on the TV, when the scary stuff is being reported, we don't receive it the way we used to. We stop being scared to death. We start being awakened unto life.
Yes.
David and I have a custom wherever he is on Sunday, and right today he's at Unity of Fairfax in Virginia. We always call each other Sunday morning, 9 o'clock. And we say to each other, knock them alive. I don't like that old saying, knock them dead. There's just something about that doesn't settle well. So this 96%, so here we go. This author, Dwayne Elgin, in The Living Universe, he says, there is a new image of human that is emerging. A new image of the human is emerging. We are far more than biological beings. We are giants living in a universe that is almost entirely invisible to our physical senses, that is emerging as a fresh totality in every moment, and that is sustained by the flow-through of stupendous amounts of energy. If someone asks you, who are you? You can say, I am a flow-through for stupendous amounts of universal energy. That may start a conversation. He goes on to say, we are all of us arising together at the center of the cosmos. This is a great topic because it's the true resurrection. Jesus gave us one tiny little glimpse, allegedly, if you accept that as a literal story. My personal perspective is, it is possible to call forth life back into a body that has died. That's my personal perspective. But it doesn't matter if you believe it is literal or not. The story is in our collective consciousness that you and I know how to regenerate, renew, and restore. We know how to do that in physical, in mental, emotional, and spiritual. So here's the thing. This writer says, I had assumed that my being was defined by my physical body. Any of us in here ever do that? And I had assumed in my physical body that I had an ability to receive and send information with my eyes, with my touch, with my hearing. And then after nearly 3 years of experiments with precise feedback from a wide array of scientific instruments, my understanding of the scope of my being expanded. Now, for some of us, we don't need the scientific experiments. For some of us, we don't need the technology that can measure these kinds of things, but this writer did. And many of us appreciate this. So what he learned is, I learned that my consciousness is entirely able to see at a distance. Some people call that remote viewing. I learned about psychokinesis, and that I had the ability to have non-local connections. Ever heard of people who can be in more than one place at a time? And thirdly, I learned that my consciousness and my ability to send and receive information extends beyond my physical body, and that my body is a gateway to a larger field of aliveness, a portal into a vastly larger being. Now, what does that mean? You are the instrument. You are the flow-through. Your body and your mind is the instrument to connect with this consciousness that we call awakening, that we call Christ, that we call Brahman, that we call the one presence, one power. We're the instrument. And we have wonderful books to be inspired by. And we have wonderful teachers who help us remember. The work's not done, though, until you and I understand that you and I are the instrument of awakening in the world. And ultimately, you and I get to do our own work of awakening. I've said this before, and y'all can keep track of how many times I say the same thing over and over. As far as I can tell, there's only one message. And the idea is, if I am not doing my personal work, then I'm affecting people around me and not supporting them to do their personal work. You do your personal work and you impact other people around you to do their personal work. Reflecting this morning, on some of my personal work I had to do years ago in my first year in college, way back in, whatever it was, 1969, I think. And my speech teacher said to me when I was giving my first speech, and I was so nervous. My underarms were stinging, my face was flushed, my hands were sweaty, and I couldn't find my place in my notes. And I couldn't find the groove on the 33 RPM record that I was using as a prop. Couldn't find my groove. And from the back of the room, the professor said, "Don't ever become a public speaker." She did me a great favor. For anybody in your life who did not recognize your cosmic identity, for anybody in your life who did not recognize you as the light of the world, God bless them. For anybody in your life who told you you were anything less than the beloved, less than the light of the world, God bless them. They didn't know. They didn't know their own light. How could they see yours? You and I have to do our own personal work to tap into the awareness, no whether anybody else sees it or says it or not. You are the beloved. You are the light of the world. You are the one presence, one power expressing as you. And it doesn't matter if you're the only one that knows it. Just keep doing it. Just keep practicing being the light of the world. That's what I did. I kept practicing. I wish I could send her an email now, but I don't know where she is. Charles Fillmore said this: "The next great achievement of science will be the understanding of the mental and spiritual abilities latent in humankind, through which to develop and release tremendous electrons, protons, and neutrons secreted in the trillions of cells in the physical organism." And he believed that this is what Paul was talking about when he said that Christ in you is the hope of glory. The light in you is the hope of the world. It wasn't just Jesus who brought us the awareness of the light. You're the light of the world. And how many times do we need to say it before we really get it? You know, I thank you for letting me say it so much, because I get it more and more the more I say it. Holy moly, we're the light of the world. Elijah's got it. So one of the things Charles Fillmore said, he said, "I reserve the right to change my mind as new scientific discoveries are made and as I receive new spiritual insights." I think if he was writing that today, he would say, is that true, Charlie? Okay. If he was writing this today, he would say, "I reserve the right to expand my consciousness." It wasn't changing my mind. That's sort of true, but the idea is when we expand our consciousness, we hold it all. I hold the foundation of what I learned in my little Southern Baptist church. I hold that foundation at the same time that I'm expanding as a multi-dimensional being in a multi-dimensional universe. My little Southern Baptist church would never have said it that way. But what they did say is, you're the light of the world. The message is everywhere. The message is everywhere. Whether you're hearing it from Joel Osteen or from your Buddhist teachers and the chanters at Marlene and David's, or whether you're hearing it at Unity or at your synagogue or at your Quaker meeting, the message is everywhere. You're the light of the world. You're the one that's going to bring peace and consciousness into the world as you wake up. It's up to you. So go forth and do that. So in the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus says this: "If they say to you, 'Where have you come from?' Would you answer them? Where have you come from?" Now, in certain circles, you never ask anymore, "Where So where did you come from? There are certain circles where you will get some really interesting answers. We came from the light. We came from the place where the light came into being on its own accord and established itself and became manifest. We came from the light. Just have fun with that this week. People ask you, so where did you move here from? It came from the light. This physicist said this: the solid, stable world of matter appears to be sustained at every instant by an underlying sea of quantum light. People say, where do you live? I live in a quantum sea of light. Where have you come from? I came from the place where the light began. And I live in a quantum sea of light. You see how it gets a little crazy? You know, we have an address, we still have to pay our taxes, we still have to, pay our rent or mortgage and our telephone bill, and at the same time, we're multi-dimensional beings. So then, Jewish mysticism, the Kabbalah, speaks of the divine as light without end. In our physical world, things have a beginning and things have an end. Relationships, life, work, things have a beginning and an end. Things are always morphing. But from the Kabbalah, there is light without end. Light is the carrier of consciousness. Oh, we could stay there a while. You're the carrier of consciousness. I'm the carrier of consciousness. And if I'm not doing enough of my personal work, remember that for those of you who are raised with the Bible, work out your own salvation. Do your own work. We'll bring it up to modern language. Just do your personal work. Quit blaming the world for why you're so miserable. Do your personal work. Ooh. Couldn't somebody else do it for me? Couldn't I just call on Jesus or Buddha or Baha'u'llah to do it for me? Yes, that worked for a while. But in every one of their teachings, they say, darling, you too will do all the things I've done and greater. You do your work so that you seize that thoroughly. And then from Islam, God is the light of heaven and earth. It's light. Do the disciples get wacky and off track? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Let's name one religion where the disciples did not get off track. Okay, so we got that clear. Okay, and then Buddhism describes awakening experiences as enlightenment, self-illuminating awareness, seeing the light. Ever say that? You see the light. A clear light infused with wisdom, love, and creative power that permeates the universe. So let's take a deep breath. What does all of this have to do with anything? It's nice to think about. It's nice to read it. Everybody said it. Well, therein lies the point. How many more Bibles do we need? How many more Qurans do we need? How many more spiritual leaders do we need telling us that we're the light of the world? While at the same time, we're bombing the heck out of each other. Until we do our personal work and stop blaming other people, events, world circumstances for our misery, we cannot fully shine as a light of the world. Oh man, it's just so easy to blame somebody else for my misery. It must be somebody else's fault that I can't feel awakened and at one with the Father God consciousness, the Mother God consciousness all the time. I can't be at peace today because my next door neighbors are playing their music too loud. I can't feel myself as the light of the world today because the Republicans or the Democrats are doing something that's ruining my world. I can't be at peace today because I heard on NPR that the economy is going down even further and interest rates are rising. can't be at peace today because my 401k disappeared. I can't be at peace today because somebody I love has cancer in their body. Now, if I've been saying that, then I'm not doing enough in my work. I'm going to feel the grief. I'm going to feel the sadness. I'm living in a relative world. But I'm a flow-through. I'm a flow-through for stupendous, enormous spiritual energy. I'm a flow-through. But if I get trapped in the scary, scary story that someone I know, their body is dying of cancer, now my world will never be the same again. If I get trapped in a scary, scary story that that's a bad thing, then that's the kind of energy I'm going to increase in the world. I say this so much because I get your emails and phone calls. I'm going to say it one more time. Only the physical ends, consciousness continues. I know this.
Amen.
It's not just a nice belief. I know this. Yesterday, I was going over my wardrobe choices. And I was going over my jewelry possibilities. And for the first time, I heard an audible voice from somebody I didn't know when she lived in physical, and that was Sandy's beloved Susan. And she said, wear that blue turquoise bracelet that Sandy gave you. And the ring, these were Susan's. I didn't know her. I've never heard her voice before. But yesterday, wear that jewelry. And give Sandy an extra long hug tomorrow. Now, some of you, bless her heart, she's talking to dead people. Can't say it anymore. I've said it enough. There are no dead people. Consciousness continues. Walt Whitman. Nature is incomprehensible at first. Be not discouraged. Keep on. There are divine things well enveloped. I swear to you, there are divine beings more beautiful than words can tell. Let's take a deep breath. Your cosmic identity, my cosmic identity. We are more beautiful than words can tell. You and I are more beautiful than words can tell. Beyond what we've done, what I've done, said, what I've done, said. Beyond what we wish we could have done differently. Beyond all the regrets, beyond the sadnesses and the griefs. We are the beautiful ones that Walt Whitman was talking about. And we are surrounded by other great divine and holy beings, and some can see. Multi-dimensional universes, 96% of it's invisible to the regular way of seeing. We have to go to another technology. So it's cosmic beings, cosmic identity. It is important to make friends with the technology that you have within your cells and atoms. Make friends with the technology of your own DNA. Make friends with the technology of what you feel in your heart. We are vibration, we are frequency, we are music, we are sound. You and I are so hugely magnificent, but we scare ourselves to death with thinking that we're little, helpless people who don't have a chance in hell. Limitations. Richard Levy. So several weeks ago, I told you his diagnosis, bone cancer. He's the minister at Unity of Wilmington. They told him he had a few weeks. They put him under the care of hospice. He is renewing. His physical is renewing. He is enlivened. He has touched into a reservoir of energy, life energy. He doesn't know if he's here for one more week or one more decade or one more century. He doesn't know. He has found the present moment awareness that he is a beautiful being of light that was before the body and will be after the body. And right now he's in a body that has a diagnosis of bone cancer. And he's at his church for the last several Sunday mornings in his wheelchair giving the message. My friend is not dying. My friend is living.
Yes.
His consciousness is alive, alert, awake, and enthusiastic. My friend's consciousness is available to the incredible, ever-flowing energy that moves through him in every moment, through his physical, through his being. And when he leaves his body, he will leave having lived a very huge and complete life for this time around. Whether he lives for one more day or one more century. And all of us have things going on in our lives where somebody has given you a really hard diagnosis, whether it's for physical or emotional or financial. Somebody's told you, don't ever become the light of the world. Don't ever become a public speaker. Don't ever think that you're the beloved. Don't ever think that you are a beautiful being of light. Just don't you do it because the world's telling you something different. There's too many hard things going on to believe that we are waking up. People are saying this all the time, so let's take a deep breath. You're the one in charge of orchestrating how you hear those messages and how you live in the world as the light of the world. You're in charge. You're in charge. Who's in charge?
Me.
You're in charge. You're in charge of the way you perceive the world, the way you speak about it, the way you feel about it. You are in charge of being the presence of light in the world. It's up to you. And we ask for our helping circle to be with us as we traverse through these days of incredible uncertainty in the relative. But in the absolute, there is no uncertainty. So we stay connected with the all that is, and we keep our feet planted on the ground. Some of us do. Well, guess what? We cannot bring heaven to earth unless we're doing both.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot bring heaven to earth unless we have our consciousness awakened to the all that is, and we're walking through the physical world. That's bringing heaven to earth. We take one more deep breath. We bless our Richard and all those that we're holding in our hearts. So here again, the 12 symptoms of spiritual awakening. If you want me to send you this, I will. Just send me an email. But it's on Facebook, Church of Facebook. Got to send me an email, though, or I won't remember. And in this moment, I want you to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and as much as possible in this moment, feel your cosmic identity, your multi-dimensional identity. Feel who you are before you come into physical form. Where were you before you came into physical form? Who are you before this body? And who are you when you leave this body? Your cosmic identity. You are the light. You are the one presence. You are love. Simply, simply love. This is who you are. Before, after, everything that we experience in the physical. And when you leave this body, you return to this awareness. Here's the fun news. We can have this awareness right here, right now, before we leave the body. Turn to somebody next to you and say, I salute you as the light of the world. Now,
I salute you as the light of the world.